Right. Good morning and welcome to our first installment of Curated Conversations, hosted by me, Risa Hunter, Assistant Director of Masterworks. I'm joined today by founder and director Tom Butterfield and curator Elise Outerbridge. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you very much.
So in an effort to stay connected with our membership and our community, we really felt like it would be a great kind of series to launch to get to know the collection better, to get to know the staff better, to get to understand behind the scenes of what we're doing, even with the museum doors closed. So before I kick off with questions, Elise and Tom, why don't you introduce yourselves?
All right, well, why don't we let the ladies go first in that case?
Thank you. Elise Outerbridge. I'm curator, collections manager, and have been with Masterworks for about 33 years. Saw it develop from a renegade bunch of people in a car dragging paintings around town to what it is today. And I'm very, very proud of our accomplishments. I'm proud of the fact that we had a vision, that we stuck with it, we didn't veer from the vision, and today what we have is just pretty spectacular.
Great. Thanks, Elise.
And I'm Tom Butterfield, the founder, creator of the idea. Started as a germ of an idea in 1986, 87, and then became a reality later on in that summer. And we bought 12 paintings to Bermuda and never looked back. We've had every year of just unprecedented growth, even at the worst of times. Mind you, with the coronavirus now, I don't expect the same level of growth, but nonetheless, there is an interest in keeping the arts alive, which is incredibly encouraging. The number of people that I see or stop and talk about how happy they are with the messages that we send them is a very positive thing. So as the originator of the idea, we have a legacy to carry on. And I might say, by the way, this little button that I have on is a slogan that I came up with back in 1988, 89. I have seen Bermuda. And it seems to me what an appropriate time to be putting out our artwork when we can go nowhere. So we might as well see our Bermuda, know our Bermuda, understand it, and absolutely get to enjoy it. So it's a very appropriate little slogan that would come in useful 33 years later.
Great, thanks, Tom. So as our viewers will know, we reached out, we asked questions of our community members. What questions did they want to know about Masterworks? So I'm going to kick off with a couple of questions asked by our community members. The first one being, which acquisition, either painting or artifact, excuse me, within the collection gave you the most surprise, pleasure, perhaps curiosity in the manner of pursuit of the acquisition? So Elise, why don't we start with you?
Well, for me, it was Albert Gleiz's portrait of Juliet. It was a real labor of love. As usual, we didn't have any money, and Tom put together an amazing consortium of people. I don't know whether you want to know whether I should call their names out or not, but it was a very strong supportive base that we had already. And I had seen a portrait. I'd seen some of Albert Gleiz's large oils at the Peggy Guggenheim in Venice, and I was really impressed. I just fell in love with them. And we were up at the National Gallery at the time, and I think it was Tom and myself and our friend Lisa Malloy were opening the crate. And when we opened the crate, I was just, right now I've got goosebumps just thinking about how exciting it was. I had never experienced anything quite like that. First of all, it was a very large painting for relative size of Bermuda painting. And it was a Cubist work, and it was a Cubist work of a woman sitting in a doorway in St. George's, who was his wife, and the whole story. I mean, the whole story, the whole picture, everything about it was just so exciting. It made me want to know more about Gleiz, and I sort of a cursory understanding, but that's what really made me dive into wanting to understand modernism, Bermuda with modernism. And I guess the real exciting thing is when we looked at the frame and we realized the frame had been actually painted by the subject, by Juliet Roche. Because at one point somebody was saying, well, we should probably change the frame. And I remember Tom and Lisa Malloy and I looking at each other and saying, are you kidding me? Anyway, that to me was out of all the moments. I mean, getting homers were wonderful. Opening up even little tiny Watercolors were great, but that was that was a very, very moving moment for me. It probably changed my life.
Great. Thanks so much, Elise. I appreciate that. Okay, Tom, your turn.
Well, I'd like to add just a little snippet of information on that because it's relevant. Because we have money, we made a photograph of the image that we wished to buy and put it in the paper because it was coming up for auction. And a visitor, this is important, a visitor realized that it was too important for Bermuda not to have, so he popped in 10% of whatever the auction price was to be. He said, I'm in for 10%. So that gave me the courage and the fortitude just to say, well, we got 10%, let's go get the other 90%. And that's how we built the team up. All right, so I thought that would be a thing that I should share.
That's great, yeah.
For me, because I'm all about photography, I just, that's my medium. The biggest single surprise are two photographers, one Aaron Siskin and the other Elliot Erwitt. Now, they are not, in terms of photography, the Ansel Adams or the Edward Westons of the world. Nonetheless, they play a very pivotal role in their medium. In the case of Aaron Siskin, he was given a camera for his wedding and came to Bermuda and started making snaps on the Bermuda beach. And those are the origins of how he started out on photography. In the case of Elliot Erwitt, which is huge because Elliot Erwitt is to street photography and the United States what Cartier-Bresson is to street photography and France. He came to Bermuda on an assignment for Magnum Press. And Magnum Press has the A list of photographers. And he was one of it. He was one of the founding members. He came here during college weeks of 1953. And what surfaced was a photograph of couples, all in a nightclub, all dressed up as one did in those days, in white, black tie, formal black tie stuff. And each husband, it's just one of those moments in time, each husband is lighting his wife's cigarette. It is just an unbelievable photograph. Now, the most important thing is, in terms of photography, is that it is a vintage photograph. So we have a print by Elliot Erwitt done in 1953 at the Elbow Beach Hotel that came into our collection. And what a wonderful addition it is to have a photographer of that magnitude in our collection. And that's the biggest surprise to me, is that a name like that goes under the surface, goes under the radar until a work comes up. My feeling is that we're going to probably find one or two other, maybe even an artist, of the Homer stature that nobody knows has come to this island, and a work is going to come up, and we're just going to have to go out there and do something about it. That's what I love about this voyage. It is the journey of the unknown, and I love it.
Great, thanks, Tom. I remember that photograph and it is incredible, just the way that it captures this moment in time. So yes, that one sticks out to me as well. So second question, what was your favorite exhibition launch that you hosted and why?
Oh, by far and away, Somewhere Beyond the Sea, our opening exhibition. It was the culmination of years of hard work. It was a team effort like I've never seen before. The community was curious about it. They couldn't wait to see what we had. We couldn't wait to show what we had. Tom had come up with the theme Somewhere Beyond the Sea based on the Bobby Darin song, which was just perfect to divide up into our collection. So each verse we did a chapter with each verse. So that was just magical. Putting the catalog together, the enthusiasm of the public, the enthusiasm from overseas, the people that we had there that night. It was a really, really, really amazing, not end to a journey, but a pause in a journey, a highlight of, where we came from, where we were at that point, a marker, and quite frankly, where we've come ever since then. I mean, a lot of people never thought that we would last 1 year, 2 years, and here we are, 34, 35 years later with this incredible collection. a beautiful building, and a legacy. So
Mhm.
that to me, that was one of the seminal moments of all the exhibitions we've had. The other ones have been great, and the other ones are all well received, but that was a pinnacle.
Yeah. And Elise, was that the first exhibition within the current space that the museum is
Yes,
in now?
yeah,
Okay.
it was the
Got it.
opening. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Okay. Yeah, that's
You know,
pretty special moment.
all the stars out, and you
Mhm.
know, the catalog was great. You know, it was really beautiful.
Great.
Something
Awesome.
I'd always be proud of, because we fought for it. We fought against
Mhm.
some internal pushback
Mhm.
about whether we were the ones that should. So it was very gratifying to have it so well received, and even to this day, people talk about the catalog and the poster and etc.
Great. Thank
Don't you
you.
think, Tom?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's true. I mean, I'd love to have a catalog for every show, obviously.
Right.
Every show is so different. And that's the beauty about being able to take the collection and put it another interpretation to the depth of what can be found. Yeah, I love that.
Great. Okay. So question number 3 from
Well,
our community members.
He has to finish his.
Oh,
he can-
sorry. I thought you were pausing for the next question, Tom. By all
No,
means, go ahead.
I was for you as the interviewer to say, and what about your Tom?
Oh,
So
I see. Okay, Tom, go ahead.
one of the things the shows that I love the most, for sure, because it was a major learning curve for people, was up country, down country. We use the term here in Bermuda, and you know, many Bermudians don't know where it came from, don't know what it means. And to my absolute shock, even some sailors who sail into the wind and go downwind had no idea where that term came from. And why do I mention sailors? Because that's its origin. When you are heading toward the west end of the island, you are heading into the prevailing winds, which meant up country. When you're going to St. George's, the prevailing winds would be on your back, which was down country. So you're going downwind and upwind. And I really was genuinely shocked. But I think the thing that was so cool was having a map of Bermuda and a train going back and forth along the old train tracks, following the train tracks. And we'd even built a stairway, a handrail that went up like a flight or two that you could look down on the thing and overlook Bermuda. That was a cool exhibition.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Tom. Next time I'll be sure to ask you the question. Don't want to leave you out. Don't want to leave you out.
I don't want to be thrown out of here.
Well, no, it's great for me personally to hear these stories, because coming in as assistant director, just understanding the backdrop to, the legacy that you both have built at Masterworks, I think it's incredible and really special. And, for those of our membership group who maybe didn't get to enjoy those exhibitions, I think it's a great way to relive it with you both sharing those stories. So thank you. All right. So third question, what do you look forward to doing at Masterworks once things get back to our quote new normal?
Well, I look forward to figuring out what our next exhibition is going to be about. I think Tom has some ideas there, but like following on from what he said about up country, down country, every exhibition we've had, I think they brought in is, like, for instance, when we did our house, we actually built a Bermuda roof in the middle of the gallery. And it drew in people that weren't necessarily art aficionados or cared that much about art, but they were fascinated with the idea of how a Bermuda house was built, especially visitors, to take a look at the different stages of the house and to look at the paintings on the wall that related to that. So I think we've pretty much done that with every exhibition. There's something that draws people who don't necessarily have a huge interest in art into the gallery, whether it's the content, whether it's the title, and just exploring those ideas and exploring ways to get more people interested in what we actually have hanging on the wall. Because I'm sure you can go into a museum and you can spin through a museum and in half an hour and tick it off your list and say you see it. But I think the exhibits that we've produced over the years have been very thoughtful, and people spend a lot more time in them just either reading the wall text, looking at the videos, enjoying the paintings, going back to the paintings. And I'm hopeful that the next exhibit we do will be of the same standard, the same quality, and the same depth of research, the same attention to detail. I think that's what our exhibits are known for. That's why people love to come to them. And like Tom said, I'd love to get a catalog for the next one, because it could be our swan song exhibition. So, but anyway, that's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I get the biggest thrill out of.
Great. Thanks, Elise. Okay, Tom, over to you.
I guess the biggest thrill for me is the notion when people visit the museum, sometimes for the second time or the third time, and make the comment that they had no idea that the collection had such depth. Well, for those who are for the first timers, the real genuine surprise that this little fleck of sand called Bermuda could assemble such a collection as this. I love the idea too that prior to not having a home, we sort of were stuck with the idea, well, we're going to just, do paintings and photographs. Now, expand it, we've done the John Lennon sculpture outside because Double Fantasy was done, or the title was done from the Botanical Gardens where our museum is. So we're able to weave in other artistic individuals and medium into the muse of the island. And that's the thing that I love. And that's why I believe our exhibitions are a little bit different, because we're always looking for other items other than just the painting or the photograph. We're looking for other little bits and pieces that talk about Bermuda. And because Bermuda was built on an economy basically of tourists, there were other things, but so much of it sprung out of tourism, whether it was exporting lilies. Had it not been for visitors, nobody would know about them. Tomatoes, and the list goes on. So when we get back to what will be the new normal, I think we're going to have to look for a new normal in terms of exportable items. And it's one of the things that I think that we need to explore as a collection and a museum is how can we export our collection and talk about Bermuda in sort of in virtual terms.
Yeah, exactly. And if I might add to that, my response to that question is obviously I've joined at a time where I can't connect with the team face-to-face in the physical space. I can't meet the donors face-to-face. I can't meet the members face-to-face and the community that comes through the doors. And so for me, I'm really looking forward to getting into the Masterworks Museum and really understanding, who these community members are that engage with the museum and who the people are that love the museum and come to it and visit it. And also just to get to know the staff and the people that are advocates for the museum on a day-to-day basis. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. I'm hoping that within this new normal, we can find new and creative ways to continue to, get people to connect with the art. Because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And so I'm looking forward to that phase when the doors reopen again. So
Right.
I think that's all we have time for today. Tom, Elise, any last words before we wrap up?
No, just when we open the doors, I hope that people will come and see exactly what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that they will coming back to what I said at the beginning. I hope they will come to see their Bermuda to fully understand it. It's a beautiful little island.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this gives us a great opportunity to put a museum in a place where it's not thought as a dusty dinosaur, as many people do think of museums. I mean, if we can stay on our toes, stay young and stay vibrant and stay fresh, and come up with innovative ideas that attract people, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. We just can't do the same old, and maybe that means our exhibitions are going to be entirely different. I just don't know, because like you say, the new normal is uncharted territory. None of us know exactly what it's going to be. But I think the lesson that we've learned over the years is that because we've struggled and scrambled and never said no, this isn't going to happen. We always found some way to get things done. I think we're in a pretty good position to get back on our feet again.
Great. Well, thanks, Elise. Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
So we wrap up today. This is the first installment, as I said before, of this series. So share with us your feedback, share with us what questions you would like our team to answer. We really want this to be a space for you to connect once again with our collection and with our people. So tell us what you think, and we will make it happen. Thanks so much, Tom and Elise. I appreciate it.
Bye. Thank you, Risa. Bye, Tom.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks.